Sorry guys, it seemed to have cut out. But anyway, hopefully you can get on this chat. But anyway, long and short, it was so I lost, like I said in the other video, June 7th, lost my job. I was angry at God for about a month, because he said he'll never, leave me nor forsake me, blah blah blah. Um, and then he was silent on top of that. So I brought back to his attention all the promises that he had made to me, and over like the past year or so. Because I mean, it's a long story, but I could go into all the details, about my ordination and all these things he said to me, and but like at that point in time, it was gone. Like everything was gone. So I had made a decision that I was going to go back home, and sit and be mad, because I was just so angry. So the first thing that happened was what they gave me a severance, which they normally don't do. I was really happy about that, and it kept me here it allowed me to pay rent, for another period of time. And to continue to look for work. So I started looking for work, and it's just looking for work is a full-time job in itself, and also filing for unemployment. So the good thing is that state of New York allows you to file for unemployment online. You don't even have to go to an office. They call you and say you're unemployed, blah, 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 here it is. The only thing about it is, and I told you in the other videos, unemployment here it doesn't give you a percentage. It only gives, yeah, hey, Erica, hey, Portia, if y'all can share the video, I don't know how you can do that, but if you can share it, let me know. But anyway, um, so yeah, they give you like a percentage, and it is not even, I can tell you this, it's not even $1,000 a week. Mind you, think about New York City and how expensive it is. Like it's not even near that. Like it's horrible. It's below the poverty level, I think, that what they offer you. Anyway, so I go get employment, start looking for work, and just nothing's coming through. I apply in New York. I flew out to California. I flew out to Chicago. I was invited back to California. Went to Florida. Not to mention the amount of phone screens. First, so with corporate America. So I'm a corporate engineer. So I work in consumer packaging. There's a lot. So when you get a corporate job, you have to you apply online. HR calls you for initial phone screen. Then they say, oh, I'll send your information over to the hiring manager. If the hiring manager then likes you, then you go to another phone screen with the hiring manager. If he or she likes you likes you at that point, you go through they'll say, oh, we'll invite you into the site or wherever the site is. And then in between each of those steps, it could be like a week or 2 weeks. So you never know how you are panning out in the process. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here like suffering because I'm like, I need to pay bills. This is not enough. I was just so angry. I just couldn't live life, and I was just so angry and depressed and sad and frustrated. And I just kept going back to, Lord, you really like turn your back on me, like how you do that. Then some other things started to happen. So in the course of that, my family and my friends really, 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 really stepped up to help me out. My parents were phenomenal. My sister and brother, Ryan and Erica, and they're in Strivers too. They were absolutely my biggest cheerleaders, just kind of helping me stay on track. and stay high spirited and, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm like, nah, but I'm looking at the devil's in the details. I'm looking like, well, I've been on, 14 interviews and nobody's talking to me, or nobody's asking me back, or I get, oh, we went with another candidate, or you were great, but we like this person more. And, God was not speaking through this whole thing. But now that I look back on it, his hand was there the whole time. He just wasn't talking. And that's what's very frustrating about that. Because, when you're in a relationship with anybody, they can do a lot, but just at least say I love you every once in a while, just so you can hear it, like that verbal cue that everything is going to be all right. And I wasn't receiving that. All I was doing, my rent was getting paid, I was eating, actually gained weight. I don't know how I did that. Maybe because I wasn't moving around. I was still going to the gym and things like that, but it wasn't the life that I moved to New York City to live. So with that being said, June goes by, July, August, September, October, all of which I'm holding on like, oh, God's going to do this for me. And he just doesn't, absolutely nothing. Like nothing's coming through. So we go to Pastor Dalio called a fast for the beginning of November. And I'm like, I don't want to fast. I'm done. I can't fast and sacrifice and act like I care anymore. And it was like a lot going on. My face was pummeled. Like my pride I had no more pride. No more. I just wasn't in a place to be trying to fast and ask the Lord for anything, because I was like, I've asked you for 5 months and you haven't done anything. So why should I keep asking you for anything? So that was my mentality the whole time. So I fast, I did the fast. And it wasn't for me. It was for some other people, because some other people in my life were going through, and I was like, well, you won't do it for me. Maybe you can do it for somebody else. And you won't move on my behalf. Perhaps, I have some friends who have some urgent needs right now. And so I fasted for them. I gave up thinking about, finding a job. I had consigned to, or I had kind of consigned to the fact that I may have to go back home and live with my parents. And at the ripe old age of 40, with no car, with no job, no steady income or anything like that. That's what I had agreed to. And so I think during the fast or after, I was talking to Dalia. We talk every day, if y'all didn't know that, but we either talk or text, and same with my sister and brother, because we're all kind of in a group chat. But anyway, so I remember there was a moment on the phone with her, and I said, I don't know what else to do. He is all I have, and if he doesn't do anything, then I'm done. I can't do anything else. My engineering mind had been worn out. I couldn't think of anything else to do. My faith had been depleted, or so I thought. And with that, I gave up. I gave up everything that I had, or everything I could do. So in this fast, we're fasting, talking to my friend, so my friend Portia, my BFF from my god baby mama. We go back from Miami years, so she's like a 20-year friend. We're back. She was an awesome support. And like I said, random things happen. Random people would send me money, cash apps. I would wake up in the morning, there was $50 in my account from somebody who knew that I was unemployed or whatever, and it was beautiful. But Portia was one of those people that kind of kept me on track and kept me together, because it was a tough time for me, and she knew how to pull me out of my own self. Same with my family. But anyway, so with that being said. I fasted, and then at the end, Dario calls me. He was like, well, the Lord wants you to get in his presence. I'm like, heck no. I have nothing to say to him. I have nothing to, there's nothing he hasn't said. Again, back to, he hasn't done anything for 5 months. I'm not going to say anything to him. why does he want me in his presence? Is there a job in his presence? You know, are you gonna give me a job? That's what you know. And it wasn't because I was, I was angry, really. And it was also, and I was, and part of this was I was ashamed that I was so angry at him because, I was just ashamed that I was so angry at him. And Dayo, she reminded me that we are allowed to be angry with the Lord and be frustrated with Him and be mad, as long as we do not cut off communication. Even bad communication with the Lord is still great. You're still in that relationship with Him, and he's been around for a long time, guys. He's heard it all, and there are some things you can say to make him very angry and be offensive, but most of the stuff that we may say while we are in our despair are things that he's already said. I mean, he's already heard. And so as long as you don't take personal attacks, you know, I was just reminding him, like, you told me you were going to do this and you did this for this person and Trump still, no. It's like, I was just going off about everything, just kids in cages and you ain't doing nothing, sitting there with your arms folded. It was just a mess. And he just remained silent. But so back to when I was supposed to get into his presence. So on Friday of the fast, I go to the gym, and how I get into his presence is I go outside and maybe go for a run or go for a walk. And he meets me there. And he starts to speak to me. So it was cold. All I remember, it was cold, and I had made the mistake of wearing shorts that day. So I had shorts and a hoodie on and a hat. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a try. This is my last ditch effort because I didn't have anything else. So I go for a walk, listening to one of my favorite songs, Travis Green. You made a way. We're standing here only because you made a way. That song will get me through every time. Anyway, so I'm listening to the song over and over again. I get to the park, I walk in, and he says, November. And I said, okay, November. You got anything else to say? I mean, you ain't said nothing in 6 months. You gonna say November? That's it? I'm a spoiled brat. Y'all pray for me. So, and then I keep walking further. So he said November. Then he said Pepsi. And I said, Pepsi? What about Pepsi? I'm a Coke man. But anyway, so back up three weeks prior to that, he told me to reach out to one of my ex-Kraft colleagues who now works at Pepsi, to just talk to him, introduce, say you're out of work, blah, blah, blah. So I did that, gave him my resume. He shopped it around. He was like, well, I don't know what's around, just applied to stuff. I'm like, okay. So I hadn't heard, it was like 2 weeks. I hadn't heard anything from Pepsi. So he said, so fast forward back to when I was out in the wilderness, as they say. It was, he said November and Pepsi. And I'm like, okay. So I keep walking. And then he says, Jason, what do you want? And I have never heard him say that in that way to me. He said, what do you want? And I could have said a job. I could have said $1 million. I could have said, just anything materialistic or anything in the now. And the only thing I can say was, I want to be able to trust you because I can't. And that was like the hardest thing to admit. I was like, I can't trust you right now. I don't know, So, yeah. So I'm like outside boohooing, and I'm like, I can't trust you. And like, it was weird. It was like, I had forgotten it was cold. It got all warm, and nobody was on this like busy path. Like nobody was on this like path. And I'm just like crying, and it was just me and him. And he said, what do you want? And I said, I want to trust you. And I'm like, you had a chance to tell him you needed the job, and that's what you say. And so anyway, fast. And so, and it's like he said, okay. And I go a few feet further, and then I start making other requests. Like, my parents are basically supporting me. And he said, you don't have to worry about that. They're covered. And so he kind of shut me up. And so I go, anyway, so I want to say the following Monday or Tuesday, Pepsi calls me. Hey, talk to, again, that process, HR, hiring manager, then they invite you in. HR calls me, hi, we like your experience, blah, blah, blah. Have a good conversation with her. She sends my information to the hiring manager. Hiring manager calls me, and it was engineers could be such pricks. I know because I'm one. And he just like lit me up on that phone interview, that phone screen, like, just digging. But as an engineer, you're trained to dig deep, like really dig deep into anything that you do to uncover any kind of fallacy or any kind of thing that may go wrong. So he's letting me have it. I didn't feel confident about this. Meanwhile, Colgate Palmolive had called me, so I had a good thing with them. I was like, oh, well, maybe Colgate Palmolive will, I'll have it. Time with them, and he just said Pepsi. So, okay, so I'm making this long, and I'm at 16 minutes, and I'm trying to hurry up through this. So they called me back and said, we want you to come in. And I'm like, wait, that interview was horrible. Like, I did horrible in that interview. So it was on a Friday, and I want to say it was 2 weeks ago Friday, like 2 weeks ago from yesterday. So wait, that would be a week ago would be Thanksgiving. And then a week before that, yes. So it was the Friday before Thanksgiving. They confirmed that my interview on site would be the Monday before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, okay, at the very least, I'm going to have to go home because I can't afford to be here anymore. This is it. I can't. So I told I had previously told my mom and dad I need to come home, and my mom was like, yeah, whatever. And my dad was like, yeah, okay, call me back. They wouldn't agree, and I was just so mad. I was like, if y'all don't let me, so before my interview, the Lord said, call them back and tell them that you're not coming. I said, no, I'm not going to tell them. Well, anyway, I said, Mom, Dad, I just need to stay here because I had a couple interviews coming up, and it's easier for me to go from New York to the places because two of them were in New York. One was in Florida, one was California. And so it was easier for me to just go from there instead of going from Cincinnati and then have to move back here or go, to those other places. Long and short, Monday I had the interview with Pepsi. And it was a grueling interview. So engineering interviews, and I'm sure anybody else in corporate America can attest to this. And when you go into an on-site interview, you don't interview with one person. It's like 5 or 6. So hiring manager, his counterpart, his boss, somebody subordinate to him, and then HR comes. I think I interviewed like 4 people. So it took like I want to say 6 hours. And this is normal, so I'm used to it. A 6-hour interview. And so I get back on the train to go home. Meanwhile, it's so funny because I ran and tried to catch the train, and I fell and skipped my knee and put a hole in one of my only interview suits. So I'm like, well, I don't got an interview suit anymore, so I'll just whatever. So I get home, eat lunch, and I get an email from Pepsi and from HR. She said, we want to talk. She was like, I need to talk to you at 3:15. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking like she wants to talk to me to find out how the interview was because they have a recruiter and then they have HR. So the recruiter called me back and said she was the one who emailed me at 3:30, or she emailed me and said she wants to talk to me at 3:15. I was like, okay, whatever. To either debrief about how the interview went or whatever. So I eat and I fall asleep and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like the phone call comes and it wakes me up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. And I'm trying to like, yeah, hello, how you doing? And she's like, oh, how'd you like it? I'm like, oh, it's great. It's a long day. It's, just the corporate thing to do. And she said, oh, okay. Well, yeah, we want to extend you an offer. And she was like, they loved you. We want to extend you. Remember, this is Pepsi, and it's still November. And, yeah, so that happened. And I said, wait, what? And I'm like, wait, because I thought I was dreaming. I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, they loved you. and then she goes on to say, I have never witnessed them turn around and offer this quick. Like, what am I supposed to do with that, y'all? Like, my whole world was shaken. Like, it was shook. And then I find out from Danielle, she prayed that morning when I told her, because I didn't tell anybody about the interview because I got tired of telling people that I was having an interview and not getting a job. So I basically told her I'm on the way to an interview. I got an interview in like 15 or like an hour with Pepsi, blah, blah, blah. And she said, okay. And so she prayed. And then like she told me later that she prayed to him that he needs to really show me who he is. And if he be God, he'll show me that he is God. And I accepted the offer Wednesday of this week. So, yeah. I'm still kind of in shock, and I'm still kind of I'm not going to, fall out. That'll be like something at that point when you be in church and, Chipper get on the, people fall out. But it's amazing to me, and I'm very, very, extremely grateful as to how it all happened. It's still very miraculous and still very strange and odd to me, but I thank God for it. He really, really showed up for me and to me. And I just wanted, just to share that with you because a lot of people are going through something really difficult right now. Very uncertain. It's very dark. God is not speaking, or if he is speaking, it's very high. It's very kind of, it's not what you want to hear, or it's not something that you expect to hear. But I am a witness to the fact that he does indeed answer. So in January, I will be a principal engineer at Pepsi. It's pretty. It's the first time I've ever said it out loud since I've gotten the offer, and it's amazing. And I thank God for him. I thank God for my family and my friends, those who walked with me through this journey. And it's not over yet, because the funny thing is my unemployment runs out 2 weeks from now. I don't start work until the middle of January, which means I don't get a check until the end of January. Don't know where the money's going to come from to pay bills, but I know God to be a complete God and to get me from A to B. He wouldn't give me a job at Pepsi for me not to be able to get there. And so remarkably, I don't know. So it's a lot. And so I'm just saying from myself to you strivers, like I'm striving too. I'm working on me. I'm working on trying to be a better person overall, and then being a better representation of what God wants us to do and how he wants us to strive. And then like this, so these are kind of the lessons, and I want to go through these really quickly of what I've learned over these past 6 months. The first one is I'm not just my job. So that's, before that's all I kind of, when anybody came to like come up against me, I would say, I'm an engineer and this, that, and the other. And I made Febreze and I made Pepper Farm goldfish crackers and you drink Capri Sun. Well, I help engineer that. Like that's the kind of stuff I would say, but I'm more than just a job. And then I'm more complex than that. And that's what the Lord wanted me to understand. Then one of the hardest ones is I had to learn to let those people close enough to me to help me. Because I was very outward. I would try to help an engineer and fix everybody else, but I would not allow people to help fix me. And my family were very, very adamant on helping to fix me and helping for me to get from A to B. My friends were, like I said, Portia, my friends Carla and Melissa, they're here in New York. They would literally come and drag me out of the house because I was so depressed. My best friend Jay, and just others who would be there, when I'm like falling apart, and I fell apart numerous times. But anyway, And then sometimes another thing is sometimes bad things happen without explanation. But you know, it's uh, it's not without making yourself better. So those bad things that happen, they're there to make you better, to help you strive. Um, Pride and selfishness have no audience with God. He shut down my pride early, and I'll say that he shut down my pride very, very early, and I realized it when I went to CVS to get a prescription. An old girl at the pharmacy counter yelled across, like it was like yelled across, "Oh, you ain't got no insurance!" Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh my God. Like, but it didn't bother me that much. I'm just like, oh, so the old Jason would have been like, you don't tell people I ain't got no insurance, blah, blah, blah. But like she yelled it across. I'm like, okay. I felt some kind of way. And then my friend, like I said, my friend Carla went up to CBS and like basically cussed him out and said, "What you won't do is treat my friend like this." Like, so that's God's hand again. And then he preserves them. When I'll get to that one. You're much stronger than you think you are. When you think everything is coming against you to break you, you're much stronger. And it has everything to do with your faith and everything to do with what you know to be true. And I knew God was able to get me a job. What I wasn't certain that he would do it for me. And once I figured out that he would do it for me, he did it for me. So just take that to example. And then the last one, he preserves those whom he loves. That's scripture, and it is a promise. He has preserved me for 6 months in New York City without a job. That is miraculous. Yeah. So that's it. And I tell you this because when I'm blessed, when Danielle's blessed, or leadership, anybody's leadership is blessed, Strivers is blessed. And I pray and I hope that my hope and my I know he will, he'll bless the rest of us. So no matter what you're going through, whether it be family matters, financial, physical, spiritual, emotional, all that, he will work it out. And I really, really hope, this video is like 27 minutes long plus the other one, so it's like 32. But it's a long one. But I really, really hope it blesses you somehow and helps you realize how much he loves you and adores you and will do anything for you if you let him, if you allow him to. So with that, I will bid adieu. I'm going to leave this up, and so hopefully some people can see it later. But anyway, hit me up with a comment below, like the YouTubers and the Facebookers and social media gurus say, hit me with a comment below. Let's discuss it, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, hope to see you guys soon, and keep striving.